Tony, Trout. Let's go.
Nah, you still
Bob, I hope we're in a place in our relationship where you can do an impression of me right to my face or behind my back, should you want. Izzy already did it. We'll get to that in a second. $430 million. $430 million! It's the gross domestic product of Tonga. And it is now the price of Trout in the world. How Machado and Harper had to wait months and months. And now the Angels and Trout come to terms years early and set for what it feels like the 10th time this month. Biggest contract in sports history. But I turn to you, Bill Plaschke, who wrote, first thing in the morning today, worth every penny. To provide counterpoint immediately, they've yet to win one playoff game with Mike Trout. One playoff game. They've only made the playoffs once. So what does this do for Trout? What does it do for the Angels?
This is huge for the Angels. The Angels had to do this. They had to offer him this kind of money. He puts butts in the seats. Without them, they're an irrelevant franchise. They had to have this. The question was, would he take it, having been in just 3 playoff games in 9 years? The answer is yes. He loves the Orange County lifestyle. It's an endorsement of that. It's an endorsement of their future. New manager Brad Ausmus. Billy Epler is a smart general manager. We're rebuilding the farm system. And again, the question is, do they have to make the playoffs and go to the World Series for this to be worth it? The answer to me is no. He's the greatest player right now in baseball history.
They don't have to make the playoffs with this contract?
He's online. If you've seen him play, he's worth the price of admission every night. And again, this is a guy who's going to be probably the best player in baseball history. To watch him grow and evolve, it's worth it to them. I'm telling you, Tony, it's worth it.
Anybody want to go in on that? That they don't even have to make the playoffs with this 400? Frank, please, first to you.
Bill is great. He's called this a big city move, them signing Trout to this many years and dollars. And absolutely, I think it's the right thing to do. But, Bill, you can't sit there and say not making the playoffs. Over the next 12 years, how about making it between 4 and 6 times? The playoffs have been expanded. It's not as difficult as it once was. And you would hope, can I get one trip to the World Series in the next 12 years, Bob? I'm not asking for too much. Once again, I love the move. I'm not so sure it's a hometown discount, and I'm not so sure Bryce Harper is a good recruiter. But for the Angels, it is a home run.
Israel Gutierrez, where are you on this?
I mean, he probably will get to some postseasons, maybe even get to a World Series. But Mike Trout is sort of the perfect test case for why you can't really expect that stuff regardless of the level of player. He has been, as we have noted, one of, if not best player in the sport over the first 8 years of his career. And what has it resulted in? So whose fault is that? Is it his? He's doing everything he can. It's the team built around him. And so what he's looking at is, as Bill said, new manager, a GM that's been there a couple years now, and the hopes that they can finally do something and build around him. They've been willing to pay people. They've paid Pujols, who knows how much. They paid Josh Hamilton. They've swung and missed. But now maybe they swing and hit a couple.
And I believe people do know how much they paid Pujols and how much they paid Hamilton there, yes. Bob Ryan, please.
When I first heard about this, one name sprang to mind, Ernie Banks. And for those of you who are too young to know, but he was a guy who played for the Chicago Cubs and played 20 years and never got to a postseason game when it was just the World Series. Okay, that's what I thought of, because now, what's been the narrative about Mike Trout for his entire career? That the Angels are wasting the prime years of the best player in baseball, a guy with a career OPS of .989. That's what it is. And we know he's the best player in baseball, although last year Mookie Betts was very close, by the way. But anyway, are they going to squander more years with him? Now, Bill Pesky says they got a good farm system. I'll take his word for it. I have no idea. But I just know that that's been the narrative. And it does go against the trend of what's in modern-day sports is looking for a place to land where you can win. And one more thing to say, if he's going to get paid all this money, he's got to be more of a public figure. He can't be shrinking in the back and being Mr. Nice Guy and not being more of a forceful public figure for the Angels to warrant that money.
No, Bob.
And baseball.
I don't agree, Bob. I do not agree with you on that. Everybody says he has to be who he is. This is who he is. He's very pleasant with the media. He doesn't like the spotlight, but he's not hostile. He's not mean. He's a good guy who just wants to play baseball. That's who he is. That's who they bought. He doesn't have to be anything else, Bob. I totally disagree with you on that.
Bill,
totally disagree.
You called them worth the price of admission, which of course everybody agrees with, but they're not even charging admission in the playoffs. I need to get back to this point that you made that they don't need to make the playoffs with a deal like this. And I wonder, does $430 million, $500 million to one player, in some way hamstring the team from being able to make the playoffs?
No, as everyone knows, as I have to remind fans in L.A. all the time, there's no salary cap in baseball.
Right.
This does not hamstring them. They're making a ton of money down there. They can do what they want. But this does really throw a lot of shade on the Dodgers, who refused to make this move for Bryce Harper in this big city, not understanding celebrity.
Israel, you want to get in on that?
They have a $3 billion local TV contract that can let them pay for contracts like this. They're not near the tax yet. And if they do have to pay it, oh well, they finally need to make something happen with Mike Trout. This tells you that maybe they're looking stable for the next 8 to 10 years and other stars can come play with Trout.
Isola.
And he wasn't going to be a free agent until after the 2020 season. You think about what happened in Washington, being unable to re-sign Bryce Harper, a guy that they drafted. It's such a great move. 27 years old, already won 2 MVPs, finished second 4 times. I mean, how
yeah, it's amazing that they got this deal done
great.
without any clock. I mean, Plaschke, you lost at least 30 to 40 columns over the next year and a half on whether Mike Trout was going.
I was going down opening day to write. They need to take care of this guy now. They're losing him. We're losing him. I had all doom and gloom. It ruined me. It killed me.
We'll move on. This Lakers story brings you back to life. The Lakers and Doc. And it makes sense because they've been dead on arrival all season. Yo! Because the Lakers need resuscitation. Oh! Because the Lakers have a rash. What? Forget. Peter Vessey's writing Doc and the Lakers. Stephen A.'ing Doc and the Lakers. Bill, how much smoke? How much fire? Of course it would make sense for the Lakers, I think you would all agree. But what about for Doc?
I'm done writing Trout. I can now write about this. Oh, my goodness. The Lakers want this to happen. There's no question this would drive a dagger through the Clippers. Everything they're doing, they're trying to get a new arena built. They're trying to get Kawhi Leonard. They're trying to reshuffle and reshape. This would kill the Clippers. It would be a double whammy. The Lakers would love to do it. The question is, would Doc do it? He's got a couple more years on his contract, so contractually, but I'm sure there's ways he can get out of that. Would Steve Ballmer and will Steve Ballmer pay, the richest NBA owner, pay to keep Doc there? I think he would. So I think there's some smoke here. I just don't know if it's ever going to get to be the fire part.
Israel Gutierrez, how about you?
I mean, I keep going back and forth on this because you say, why would he want to go to the Lakers? It's just the prestige of the organization. It's just to coach LeBron toward the tail end of his career. But Bill's right. It does nuke everything that the Clippers are doing if he moves there, because what is the attraction to the Clippers other than they have money to spend? It's Doc Rivers. It's that if you give him stars, he can win at a high level and win a championship. He does that. He goes to the Lakers. All of a sudden, it's just like, man, that's the Clippers again. All this room. I don't know if I want to go there. I don't know who my teammates are going to be. So I do think the idea of that, if anything else is going to get him paid, and Ballmer will pay him, what, $60 million over 4 years? I mean, that would probably keep him there. But I like the idea of him flirting with the
Frank Isola.
And the names you're hearing, Tyronn Lue, Jason Kidd, but there's no doubt that Doc Rivers is on the top of that list. But he's done such a great job this year, and they're trying to change their identity, change their brand. Now, all of a sudden, putting themselves in a position, they'll be a playoff team. We've heard all year long that they have a great chance to get Kawhi Leonard. Now he's going to leave. But from the Lakers, think about it from their standpoint. All they've heard is that nobody wants to go play for LeBron. Maybe they're thinking, we need to pay for the coach that maybe people want to pay for. That's why we'll, back up the truck for a guy like Doc Rivers.
Bob Ryan, your view of it?
Yeah, I can understand that the Lakers would want him, but he's got a better situation with the Clippers right now. And I'm just going to throw this out there. Would he want to go to the Lakers with Magic there and potentially Magic being always around to, overrule or exert a Bigfoot kind of thing? I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know, but I think he'd be wise to just stay where he is.
Let me ask it this way, Bill Plaschke, because, I guess we're all assuming a fait accompli that Luke Walton is not going to be with the Lakers going forward. But what's the timeline on this? Does it have to happen before free agency this year, Bill? Does it have to happen? Do the Lakers need to do something to entice free agents that's not just LeBron?
Oh, absolutely. He's their first call. Maybe they've called him already, and because they need to get him, because LeBron himself, it looks like he's not going to get a top free agent. They get him, that they could get Kawhi then, because Kawhi wouldn't want to come to the Clippers with an uncertain coaching situation. It's a 2-for-1. It could be an absolute 2-for-1.
Israel, you want to address that real quick?
I mean, I'm not sure if Magic Johnson is an appeal anymore to go to the Lakers. Obviously, LeBron on his last legs, Doc Rivers would definitely add to that for sure.
Right. I should say this, Plaschke. Doc Rivers, an incredible coaching job this year. You said that the Clippers were going to tank. But I know, now you can throw your vote to them, but you said the Clippers were going to tank, and they're locked right into the playoffs.
I thought they should tank.
Okay, you're going the wrong way again. We'll move on. Headline 3 from last night. The Nuggets clinching. Take a look at this.
We ain't satisfied, but we're going to celebrate tonight.
We see this all the time in other sports. Baseball does it like 6 times in a postseason, even when you win one game. Also last night in this game, we had Isaiah Thomas with the Nuggets returning to Boston. This was a really great moment. But Israel, let me ask you about the Nuggets, because they're tied with the Warriors right now for the 1 seed. Can you celebrate clinching a playoff berth?
Absolutely you can, when you consider this team who hasn't been to the playoffs since 2013. Nobody on the roster has been to the playoffs with this team. And the way they finished last season, losing in overtime in the last game of the season to try to get to the playoffs, has to be heartbreaking. You go ahead and you celebrate what you've done so far, because you're not only celebrating eking into the playoffs, which if you did on the last day of the season as the 8th seed, I would still be okay with this celebration, but you are in the playoffs and you're vying for a 1 seed. Might as well celebrate.
Frank Isola?
Think about it. Last season, they lost the NBA's version of the play-in game when they lost to Minnesota. They win that game. That would have been their 47th win. Last night, win 47. They clinched a playoff spot. And great job by Michael Malone. I covered him when he was an assistant coach back at Manhattan College. Jeff Van Gundy hired him on his staff. 6 years, they didn't make the playoffs, and they have a legitimate team.
Oh, Blaschke's calling you a name dropper, or some might just call that research and having access. I mean, again,
thank you.
Blaschke, man. Bob Ryan, how about you?
In this era of rampant cynicism where people are bred to think that the players are all about nothing more than the next contract, and often it is true, it's so heartwarming to see that. I loved it. And I've been following this team all year, more largely because of Jokic, and I think it was a terrific thing, and I applaud them.
And
This should be the start of a trend. Basketball teams should start doing this after they clinch playoff berths. Everybody says there's no joy in the players in the game. There's joy last night. It was very cool.
As a society, we should be celebrating more. I'll put that out there. You can't just leave it for the actors and actresses who win Oscars, right? And you guys should be celebrating when you get into FaceTime or Showdown more. That's what you should be doing. But first, buy or sell right on the other side. I'll tell you what happened to your score.
Bill won't be celebrating.
That Blaschke went Blaschke.
In Plasma 1.
Oh, man.
Gettleman.
Giants GM Dave Gettleman. You got it right, Bill. See, he's just Blaschke again. Also, he said you can win while you're building. He said this narrative, everybody loses the point, that Eli is overpaid and can't play as a crock. And he also said we live in an instant gratification society. Everybody wants answers now. Over time, you'll see it. You have to trust it. Bill, buy or sell?
Does he realize what market he's in? Does he realize who he's talking to?
That's a good point.
Does he realize that Eli is really is overpaid and it's not a crock and he can't play anymore? I don't know what he thinks he's doing. He has not to realize the circumstances. You don't say that in the big city like New York. You don't talk about trusting the plan or process. You got to win now. I don't know what he can say.
IG?
I mean, I don't know what you're going to do to create trust, but trusting a 38-year-old quarterback who's lost 23 games the last 2 years and then taking away his greatest weapon and telling me, don't worry, we're going to win, not really trustworthy. Sorry.
Frank, how do you build trust?
The Giants talk about Eli Manning the way Bill and his buddies talked about LeBron James over the summer. Like he's 28 years old. Weren't they watching the games? And I think they're going to go into the draft. Man. And not go get a quarterback. You have to go get a quarterback. Come on.
All right.
It's time.
Bob Ryan, how about you?
First of all, I'm going to sell, by the way, but let's congratulate Eli, who became $5 million richer a little over an hour ago with picking up a bonus, okay? This is ridiculous, okay? Let's say, for the sake of argument, they go 8-8. And then where are they in 2020? Eli's not going to be there. It's stupid. They got to go stupid. They got to go for
stupid. All right. Yeah. Speak to me in a language I understand. You know, Gettleman, if he wants to test it out, I know this was on a conference call. Next time he's at a podium, he could turn around and try to fall backwards and see how trust works. We'll move on. For the second time in 4 seasons, the bracket leaked. This is incomprehensible. Last time it was the internet minutes early on CBS. This time hours early on ESPNU.
Unfair to the kids.
All those schools who had bid parties set for 7 o'clock, like my Fordham University on ESPN, were out of that moment. Meanwhile, here it is. Baylor overall #1, Notre Dame, Louisville, Mississippi State, and then Connecticut on the 2 line. First time they haven't been a 1 in a decade plus. Israel, what to buy, what to sell?
Well, maybe those bubble teams had 2 less hours of aggravation and worry because they knew ahead of time. So perhaps it was a good thing, Tony. But I also
not a good thing.
I also don't think that. Okay. I also don't think that UConn not being a top seed is a bad thing or is a good thing because look, I think that them being the hero, them being the villain, whichever way you want to talk about it, the team that won 111 wins or the team that you want to beat, that's a good thing. There isn't a team that really replaced them this year, so there's not as much interest, in my opinion.
Frank Isola?
Yeah, UConn got knocked out of the tournament the last 2 years on a last-second shot. When I look at that front line, though, of Collier, Katie Lou Samuelson, they do not look like underdog, but you want to make them out to be the little engine that could, Gino Auriemma? Go right ahead. I'll buy in.
Brian?
As far as the leak is concerned, it's unfortunate, but hardly life-altering. Get over it, people. And your
I mean, but
parties.
the moment was just taken away. Go ahead, Bob, please, go.
Oh, they got in the tournament. That's what matters. Stop it. They can have a party.
Okay, fine.
Anyway, come on, stop.
We just talked about celebrating. You were all for the Nuggets celebrating, but you just took it away from all these schools.
They can still celebrate.
Okay, please, Bob. We digress. Go ahead.
All right, but UConn, hey, doesn't matter. One's for the resume. One's for the resume. We had X number of ones. They're going to have the same opportunity to win at 2 as they would have had at 1. And that's all.
Bill Plaschke.
Brilliant move putting UConn 2 because they need to promote more parity or the perception of more parity in women's college basketball. This does that. Plus, like Bob said, UConn's still in Albany. They're still going to play Louisville to go to the Final Four. They're probably still
Louisville lost in the end of their season, and UConn didn't. But Louisville did beat UConn head-to-head. I think that's the bottom line. Buy or sell 3. Let's get a little Pablo Honey in here. Roll tape.
The Galileo of bracketology interrupts his vacation in order to bring you a pick, a prophecy. Virginia is going to lose for the 2nd straight year as a 1 seed to a 16 in Gardner-Webb. And am I making that pick because UMBC last year was kind of like this miracle baby who hates me? Maybe. But I'm still the father.
Frank, legit question. Is the 16 over 1 now that you've seen it happen? More likely, less likely? What is it?
It'll happen again. It's not going to happen this year. And when it does happen, listen, we'll all be rooting, say, for Duke to lose their first game. And then if they do, we'll say, why was I rooting for Duke to lose? Now I can't see Zion Williamson anymore. That's the problem with the 16 winning and advancing.
Bob, Ryan?
If it's going to happen this year, the only one with a remote chance, remote, is Iona, because Iona is a team that scores 77 points a game. They have a coach that's been here 6 times, and they've won 10 games in a row. Of course, they do have to play North Carolina.
Versus North Carolina. Okay, Plaschke, how about you?
There is no way it's happening. After what happened last year, there's no way these teams are going to let down like this. Absolutely not. In fact, the tournament's so top-heavy, I predict the average margin of victory, 16-1, will be 35 points.
All right, that's a Plaschke prediction, and we know. I mean, he's won our bracket pool like 6 times, so I'm not going to mess with that. Gutierrez.
How is Pablo always on vacation? I feel like he's on every other day. But anyway,
that's the topic.
I do not want a 16. I do not want a 16 to beat a 1 because there's sort of a novelty to it, right? It just happened. You don't want it to happen again for years, maybe decades. You want to create some drama there, some mystery, like the horses in the Triple Crown. There's been a couple of them lately.
All right. Here's drama and mystery. Israel.
Justified.
We're going to be watching Bill and Frank and Showdown. Bob, I love you. I'm in awe of you. We disagreed a couple times today. I disagree once more. The only upset is a 16 or 15 or 14? That is bizarre. You could have a 13 as an upset. You could have a 12 as an upset. All right. Yeah. Look who we have in Showdown. Bill Plaschke somehow made it back. And Frank Isola on the other side.
Yes, sir.
Woody's blackboard on our chauffeur day, it gets mailed to you and you get to have it for life. How about that? Now it's Showdown.
Woody gets mailed.
Let's go. Alabama Pro Day. I've got Bill Belichick in Alabama gear and Saban in Argyle. Is that like wearing a shirt of the band you're seeing in concert to the concert? Bill, who's more foul here?
As the only member of this showdown who once wore Argyle on this show to impress a woman, I am going with the much more heinous is Belichick.
Well, think about it. The Alabama shirt is basically the alternative jersey of the New England Patriots. They're both the same. They win all the time. The coaches are somewhat familiar. It's natural for Bill Belichick to wear that.
They win all the time?
Absolutely.
Do they win? I don't know.
Yeah.
Plaschke, how did wearing Argyle go every day for you, by the way, with this significant of it?
In the end, not so good.
I respect your dedication. We move on. Mo Harkless last night, did he just invent a new way to block shots after the whistle? He was hanging on the net, and he used his foot, Frank.
I like it. Mo Harkless from St. John's. Here's what's disrespectful, though. Sabonis, his father played for Portland. Show him a little bit more respect.
Yes, Bill, go ahead.
It's just amazing. Saying you're amazing, Frank.
Yeah.
No, it shows what a great athlete.
I'm telling you where he went to school.
6'8" guy to do that. That shows what great athletes these NBA players are. Sometimes we forget that.
I feel like there was
St.
a
John's,
book
give it a
in
rest,
my
Frank.
house growing up, famous Italian-American athletes. So you always knew. And I'm sure my Jewish friends had this.
Big.
I know Pablo's got the shrine to all Asian athletes. And that's what Isola does. It doesn't get him points right now on this show because Bill Plaschke's getting the face.
Well, tonight, neither LeBron or Giannis is playing in Milwaukee. That'll be a fun game. But I think in general, moving forward, the Lakers have, I believe they have 7 more home games left. They need to play LeBron. They need not to shut him down. He's the only thing left in the season worth redeeming. He's the only reason people come to games. It's not fair to the fans. It's not fair to the league. I know they're saying shut him down, the season's over with. It's not over with. He was hired here for the season. He's being paid for the season. Let him play. Keep him playing.
Hey, Bill, what would it take you to bring the Argyle
the
back a little bit? You know, maybe impress somebody else. I mean, who knows? Bring it back. Let's go. 23.5-hour break. We'll see you mañana.
Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. A man in St. Louis was robbed of his pants.
I'm Tony Kornheiser. Did pretty well, don't you think?
Here's what I know about you.
What?
You got 7 or 8 houses. You have houses you don't